Can you explain what is metabolic flexibility?
Okay, so metabolic flexibility is distorted. If you read this on the sports literature, it said if you're burning carbs, you're metabolically flexible. That's nonsense because you're inhibiting fats. And fats is the real fuel because it's got so much more energy and we carry it in our bodies. We don't have to eat it all the time. Once you go out and run, you can burn fat and it can do very well and you don't have to carry stuff with you, etc. So metabolic flexibility in my way is burning fat, being able to burn fat. And that you get because you lower your insulin.
How many carbs we should eat? Because it's based on metabolic flexibility. So how many carbs then should people eat?
Okay, it begins with your mother during her pregnancy. That's when it begins. Because if she's a high carb eater, your metabolism will be damaged and it'll be more carbohydrate dependent from the day you're born. And then what do you get? You get raised on these purees, which are just sugar and carbs and complete rubbish. Whereas in the past, we were raised on animal produce when there weren't these processed foods. I fortunately grew up in Zimbabwe before ultra processed foods arrived, and we just got the food from the farms. And my mother was a great one for meat, so she raised me on meat, and I was very fortunate for that reason. So that's when it starts. So if your mother ate carbohydrates and you were raised on a high carbohydrate baby foods, you're going to be more carbohydrate dependent and more insulin resistant from the word go. And you need to get down to 50 grams of carbs as soon as you possibly can. It's another interesting thing that I just went back to my old school for a bit and I looked at the kids, and the kids' faces are different than our faces were. I don't have a perfect face because I must have had some carbs. But if you look at the Native American Indians, they had these beautiful faces, big, round faces, absolutely monumental faces. And that was from eating buffaloes, just living on buffalo. And the faces become more distorted and smaller with time. And that's the marker that where children are being raised on cereals and grains, not on meat. And it's becoming more and more obvious. The best advice you can get is to tell families to start eating real foods, animal foods, from as young an age as possible. And then we won't have to have this discussion. Because what you're asking me is for people who are already sick, like myself. And we're the ones who then have to worry about how much carbohydrate we're eating. So I would say that for most people, if you were to eat 150 grams from the day you were born, and well, not less, obviously, with the day you're born, but if you were to build up to 150 grams carbs a day, that'd be fine. You'd probably live your life without any major problems. Yeah, once you become diabetic, you have to go as low as possible. That's it. Well, sorry, let me rephrase that. I think you can judge from your glycated hemoglobin value, the HbA1c, which tells you what your average glucose is. Once it goes above 5.5, you will develop diabetes. If you start at 4.5, you get to 5.5, your trajectory is diabetes. And we normally say 5.5 is fine. It's not. That's pre-diabetic, and you want to start acting then. What happens to most of us, like we get over 6s and over 6.5, and then we're diagnosed, and then we've got to go down to 25 or 50 grams. But I would guess if you caught it at 5.7, you could probably get away with 150 grams of carbohydrate, and you could, again, normalize. So I think that would be the better advice, is have your HbA1c measured and see what it is, and your insulin as well, your fasting insulin. And if that's elevated and your HbA1c is above 5.5, then you've got to start restricting. And I think it's for people to decide what they can cope with, knowing that less is better. And if you can get down to 50 or 25 grams, that's going to give you the best result in the long term.